I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to see if you'll be as thrilled with these craft projects as I am. I'm Karen and I'm from Karen's Cottage, and it's Karen with an I and Cottage with a K. And I am going to show you how to make some fun coastal Christmas crafts. And I'm really excited because I'm using something that I've never used before. So let me begin and show you. This is a recycled wreath. So this is something you can do with a wreath that you might have in your garage, or you might find it at a thrift store or garage sale, and you see them all over the place. And so I'm going to show you how to make it a little bit more beautiful. So the first thing that I'm doing is that I have a battery operated little light to add a little sparkle to the wreath. And then once you get that all kind of tucked in, you just kind of place it in there. And what's great with these wired wreaths is that they don't, you don't have to glue things in there because it holds it in there pretty well. And so the battery is at the back, but you could wire that in when you get ready to hang it up or tape it on there or whatever you want to do with that. So we're going to use seashells, which is the natural part that I love. And we're going to use this secret ingredient. So this is something that I have never used before in craft making. So this is cotton piping. And if you're not familiar with it, it's what you would use if you sew to make the border around a pillow to make it nice and thick. And so when I was looking for something like rope to use for my nautical or beachy theme, I didn't want to use just plain rope because it's a little bit too smooth, and I wanted something that was cozy and fluffy. And so I had this big, huge pile of this in my craft room that my sister gave me. And I love it because I don't know if you can see close up. It's cotton fibers, and there's like 4 in a thing. This is a 1-inch piece of it. And it kind of holds it together with these little strings. So it has that nubby texture feeling, which I love the texture. Anyways, this stuff is cheap. It's like 49 cents a yard. And so I was so excited to find it because you can use it for all kinds of different things. So let's get started with the wreath. So what I did was I took like 4, it's all tangled right here, about 4 yards of the cotton piping, and I just went through and made some knots, because that's more like the nautical, look. And so I have a big long strand of it, and then I'm going to start tucking it into the wreath. And I'm not going to hot glue it, but you could hot glue it in there. And so I'm just going to kind of wind it around, and you can play with it and fluff out the greenery to make it how you want, so it kind of hugs it a little bit. And so you just want to fluff it around and tuck it in and out of the wreath and go all the way around like that. And sometimes, I have found that when you're working with a flat surface like this, but then you're going to hang it, it looks different. So what I do is once I get it kind of how I want it, and I'm doing this, a little faster than I would normally so that you can see, but then I kind of hold it up to see how I like it. And so like this is not working for me, so I want to tuck that in more. So as you're working on your wreath, tend to hold it up every so often so you can see how it's looking and if you like it. Okay. So that one side doesn't want to stay in there. There we go. So I think that looks kind of cute already. And so it's kind of simple, but yet it has the texture. It has a little shininess to it, and you just kind of pull things around. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take these seashells, and these are called, what are they called? Mexican cup seashells, I think is what the name is. But I love the color. I love the texture because it's warm, and I don't know, I just love it. I grew up in California, so this has a little bit of my heart in it. So what I do is I take the big ones, and I just kind of place them where I want them at first. And I want to try and highlight the different sides of a seashell, you know, like this top edge or this edge or the back side. And so I just kind of place them in different areas. And I think I used like seven of these seashells to make this wreath. And I'll show you my completed one once I get all this in here. So, I'll just put another one right there, and you can kind of move things around and then decide. Okay, so I kind of like how that looks. Okay, so now I'm going to hot glue them in real fast. And I'm just a quick crafter gal. I'm like, good enough kind of gal, so I don't take a huge amount of time in doing this because I like to do things quick and fast. And just kind of place them in there, like so. And then you can kind of move them around a little bit as you go along. But it's just kind of fun. There's something about crafting, I think, right now, what we're going through. Oh, wow, it made me emotional. It just kind of brings peace, I think, because there's so much going on in the world. And here you can create something and make your home beautiful. Sorry. I don't know where that came from. Okay. Sorry for that. Okay, so here you have your wreath with your shells and your awesome little rope stuff. Then you want to add in some different textures and different colored shells that can really add a little bit more detail to your wreath. And again, I just place them in here so that you get the different, you know, you get edges here. You might turn this one upside down or turn it right side out so that you have the different textures. And then we would add more little shells. And again, flip them, tuck them in there, decide where you want them. But I love the colors. I love the texture. Okay. Okay. So I kind of like that. So then I'm going to kind of hold it up. Hopefully it won't fall down. And I like it. I like how it moves. Your eye moves through the whole wreath. So I think that is really a beautiful look to the wreath. And then I'm just going to pop them in here, like that. What did we do before glue guns? I love the glue gun thing. Okay, it's so weird to do this and not have you talking to me. Maybe some of you are leaving comments, but I'll look at them after I'm done. And then I can answer some of your questions. Or if my handsome cameraman can share what he is seeing, then I can answer a couple questions. Is there anything that I can answer right off the bat? He doesn't want to talk on camera. Okay, so now let's have a look. See if there's any blank spots, empty spots. Oh, and there's one I didn't put in there. Okay. So you can see how quick and fast it is to make this wreath, which I love, quick, fast crafts. Isn't that fun? And then you can either, you know, if you wanted to bring in like the red color or the, you know, kind of like this antique looking ribbon, you could add that for a ribbon hanging down. Or you can also add a few fresh greens in here for a fun look. bit more. I'm just going to tuck it in to show you. But my other wreath that I'll show you that's already hanging up looks a little better than that one. But to give you an idea, to add a little bit of different texture and to add the natural feeling to it, so that you start with the faux base and then you add in some real greenery, and it will dry. This is just from my yard. And so then you can just pull it out at the end of the season. So, okay, that's that wreath. Now let me show you my second craft real quick. So, on my blog at Karen's Cottage, I do a lot of tablescapes because I love to entertain and I love having my family here. And so I was thinking, looking at this stuff, going, how can I incorporate this into a tablescape? And so I was playing with it like this, and I was like, ooh, a napkin ring. And so all this is about 14 inches, and then I just rolled it over and put a little glue on there, pop it over. Then we're going to add a pretty little seashell right there. And so I don't know if you have looked around at how expensive seashell decor is, but it's very expensive. And this is like basically pennies. And then I'm going to add a little greenery right in here I just snipped a piece of this off of the wreath and stick it in there with a little red berry. We're just going to pop that right on the glue right there. And so now, I'm so excited to show you my dining room. Okay, follow me, Mr. Cameraman. This is the dining room. It's so fun. So I want to show you, before I show you where I hung the wreath, here's the napkin ring. And what I did is I also tied a little string on the end to keep the fluffy edges from, flying out. But you could just leave it regular and it will still be fine. And so how I did the napkin is I just did like a little accordion pleat, like this, and so we go like this, and where's my newest napkin ring? So then you just pop it through and kind of straighten it out, and then lay it on the plate, and it kind of has two different options where I think it looks like the edge of the shell right around here, or it could maybe represent the Christmas tree. And I just thought that was so cute, so fun. And then this is another idea for a place card setting, is to use a shell, and then I use my Cricut to cut out the guest's name, and I just laid it in there, but you could probably glue it in, or if you used vinyl, you could, have it stick forever. And then you could drill a hole and put a little string in there and be able to use it as an ornament so that your guests could take home, a special little gift from 2020. Well, you could even put a little 2020 in there so that they wouldn't forget. Okay, so here is more that I used of the cotton piping. There you go. And so again, I just took it, put some knots in, and strung it through the garland. And this is just, a cheap little green garland. And then I added more seashells and some wood beads and some more of the fresh greenery from the garden. And so I just think it has just kind of a fun, beachy, casual look, which I love. In the pictures that I posted earlier this week, it was bright colors. It was hanging from my chandelier, and the room was blue. And so we did a DIY in here, and we painted the room white. We added shiplap, and my husband and my son-in-law did a new planked tabletop over our old table that we've had in the family for years, and all that's on the blog. So come here, cameraman. So here is the wreath. I hung it here on my big chalkboard and had one of my daughters write Happy Holidays because I have horrible handwriting. And then I added the fresh greenery, which you can see, and the greenery already has berries on it. And I love how it turned out. You can add even some fake little greeneries in there to, you know, make it more full and lush. And it looks fun. And so this has been my first time doing this craft live with you. And hopefully you understood what I was teaching you and that you will look for, I'll have links on my blog to the piping and to the seashells. I have a great place where you can get them inexpensively. And I think it's so fun. So maybe I can answer some questions that have been on there. Is there any questions? No? Okay. So anyways, this is, I like to do crafts really fast and really easy and really inexpensively. And so hopefully you liked it and that you'll maybe incorporate some of these ideas. I thought about if you don't like the nautical or the beach look, you could just stick a pine cone on here and do the same thing with your, you know, there are some pine cones here, but you know, if you took away the pine cones and maybe added more red, then you could use just pine cones, take away the seashells. And so that is my craft for you for the day. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.